I remember that first night, I was actually quite surprised at how, like, I had a TV, I could still smoke. I hyped it up so much in my head that by the time I got to prison, I was like, oh, this is a walk in the park. This is like living in a children's home. Like, I'm already used to hearing the sounds of keys going up and down the corridor. I'm already used to somebody just barging into my room. I'm already used to not being able to fully open my window. I'm already used to not having a sense of control over my home environment because of growing up in care. So those things were already normalized, and that's the institutionalism that I'm talking about. And then I just started to realize what actually I feel like I'm still processing at this age is the fact that I felt, for the first time, I felt safe when I went to prison. And I think that, like, I explore it now in therapy, I think it goes back to not having to, like, constantly having to live in survival mode. That was my life as a child. So now when I got to prison at 18 years old, for the first time in my life, other 18-year-olds go to university or they go to other positive environments where they get to kind of pause and figure out what pathway they want to pick in life. That was prison for me.
So on the van going from court to prison, yeah, the first trip, there was someone in the van as well that I knew from the outside. Like, we were like associates.
To be fair, on my van as well, on one of my vans, someone I knew, she was from my area and it's quite small. Like, we didn't really know. And we were talking about that area and I was like, this is weird. Like, how it happens. Yeah. So yeah, okay, go on.
So similar to that. And I was like, he was like, what, it's your first time? I was like, yeah. He's like, don't worry, it's cool. You'll be all right. But in my head, I'm just like...
They're nice on the van, aren't they?
No, not really, because there were some other guys talking some stuff, but then after I was in my head, I'm just like, you know, like, you just got to build yourself up. I'm like, yeah, all right, cool. Anyone talks rubbish, you know? I've just got to, like...
So you were scared a little bit?
Not scared, but I was just like... Prepping myself.
Yeah.
But like, it was fine.
I was 32 years of age when I went to prison for the first time. It's not unusual. Lots of people have had more experience than me of prison. You know, lots of the lads have been in and out before. And I'm quite lucky that I'd had some military service. But I was convinced that everybody in that prison was an actor. Utterly convinced.
So when did you go to the army? When did you serve?
When I was 17, I joined the Navy.
Okay. How long was that for?
4 years.
Okay. So quite a while after. Yeah. Now you're in prison. But
but I was always... Prison was easy.
It gave you some sort of resilience in...
Do what you're told. They tell you what to do. It was easy. Like, it's a horrible place, but I needed it.
It was massive. Like, there was loads of different variations of stages that I kind of like went through. So initially, I didn't have the mindset. Like, if you knew me back then, I was still... like condoning my actions and my behaviour. Like, I didn't care that I'd done it because I was like, yeah, of course I did it. I knew exactly what I was doing at the time, kind of thing. I guess I was still so childish in my own mind that for me, initially, it was all just one big joke. It wasn't because I'd watched people in like my circle. It's just something that we did. Like, okay, I thought I was slick and I like tried to avoid it for as long as possible because I'm good at what I do in the kind of like criminality world of it. So I'm not going to get caught. And then when I got caught, like, you make the excuses, like, it's not really a thing anyway. I'm going to do my bad. I'm going to come back out and I'm going to hop straight back on the line and do those kind of things again. So initially that was my mindset. So I went in as like a naughty, I was young as well. So I went in as a naughty YO. I was still thinking that I was bad. I was on remand, so there was the nerves, but I just entered into second day in, I'm fighting. I'm trying to work out who's the biggest person on the YO wing. Like, I just don't care. I've got 3 people sat at the top of the wing telling me they run this wing, and I'm sat there like, I don't think so.
And just to confirm, YO is
young adults,
young offender,
adult.
So you were young when you went.
Yeah, and I'm ready. Like, I'm used to dealing with grown men. Like, I'm used to being a young person in an adult environment and leading despite my age, even if it's through a negative way. So, like, for me, and knowing like the prison environment, I wasn't going to walk in there and feel like anybody could take advantage of me.
Yeah.
So, and all those preconceptions that you have of prison, like I went in there with that, like I'm gonna be the baddest because I don't really care. And it was only when I went to the adult wing because I'd been fighting, and this was like I'd been fighting and I'd had enough. I just thought like I was beefing with everybody on the wire wing, like every single person I was just ready to go with. And I came off the wing one day and I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing this. Like, you need to move me. And I'm like, there's nowhere else to put you. Like, this is where you belong. I said, you're going to have to figure it out. By this point, I'm on 28 days basic already. I've got a nicking in like 2 days. So I've sat outside and refused to go back on the wing, and they finally moved me. And it was when I went to the adults that I kind of settled down a little bit.
I already had this idea of what prison was like, and even though it was like an institute, like it's a conformity situation, and and you've got to like play by the rules, but there's a fine line and loopholes you can just slide through kind of thing in it. And that's how like I plan to do my prison time, and just keep my head down. Like, and he always said to me, like, you won't really ever get like all my brothers have been to prison as well, and they said, like, Lukey, if you're not involved in gangs and drugs and stuff like that, you'll breeze through your sentence. He goes, Lukey, like when I was on bail, my brother says to me, he goes like, Luke, you'll be fine in prison because, you know, people love people in prison that make the time go faster in it, and you're one of them people. Like, you just smile all the time in it. And in fact, when I was in prison in Stoke Heath, I was in garden employment, and there was this 70-year-old Irish fella in it. I probably got along with him, good lad he was. And he goes, hey, Lukey, you're the happiest man I've ever seen in prison. Like, because I would just be there with like the whole, like, putting on the garden, singing my heart out, you know what I mean? Just vibing, I don't care, innit? So
when I first went in, I was just, don't talk to me. I think it was a defense.
Show us your stone face, Jules.
My what?
Your stone face. Your don't talk to me face. What does that look like?
I can't, because I can't.
You did it a second ago.
I know, and now I'm on.
Have I put you on the spot?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I'm not going to do it again.
Don't do it. That's fine.
But yeah, I think it was just my time to like zone out, and it was a defense as well. I didn't know what it was going to be like. I didn't want.
Why were you scared? When you said you didn't know what it was going to be like.
So I was scared in a way of the unknown. I didn't know how it was going to be. I didn't know, I didn't know whether I was. Yeah, I didn't know whether it was just going to be awful for me, and people didn't like me or didn't want to. Of course, I had that element of it. But I think the thing that overrided that was a defense of like, don't talk to me. It was me that was like, yeah, in a certain way. What's the word? Not
coping mechanism.
Yeah, and it built me a resilience.
Okay.
It built me a strength that I didn't know I had. But on the other side, I had moments of scare that I was scared as well. So it was two.